First and foremost, there was no loss of life. And this is in due part to our heroic and trained professionals, our first responders at the airport. So the facts of the matter around this event that happened at approximately 2:30 p.m. is Delta Airlines Flight 4819 from Minneapolis to Toronto, operated by subsidiary Endeavour Air, was involved in a single aircraft accident upon landing at Toronto Pearson. The plane was carrying 4 crew and 76 passengers, among them 22 Canadians. The other passengers were multinational. Airport emergency workers mounted a textbook response, reaching the site within minutes and quickly evacuating the passengers. We stood up our emergency operations center with Delta Airlines and representatives from fire, police, paramedics, security, and our federal agency partners. Again, there were no fatalities. 17 injured passengers were quickly taken to local area hospitals. At this time, we do not know of any of those passengers having critical injuries. We immediately halted further arrivals and departures on our remaining 3 runways. Those runways were reopened at approximately 5 p.m. The other runways are remaining to serve the investigation, which will be carrying forward for the rest of tonight and into the next several days. Again, we are very grateful that there was no loss of life and relatively minor injuries. We are very focused on the care and the concern and the passengers and the crew, some of whom have already been reunified with their friends and their families. Others we have in a comfortable place right here at the airport in an environment where they're getting a lot of care and support from my staff. Delta Airlines is also continuing to provide customer care and information for passengers. In closing, no airport CEO wants to have these type of press conferences, but this is exactly what our emergency, our operations, and our first responder partners are all practiced and trained for. And again, this outcome is in due part to their heroic work, and I thank them profusely.
Good evening. I'm Todd Aiken, Toronto Pearson Fire Chief. The cause of the crash is still under investigation and being led by the Transportation Safety Board. It's not appropriate for us to comment at this time. However, I can speak to you about our Aircraft Rescue and Firefighting Services response. 3 of our stations in the airport operating area responded with 8 aircraft fire and rescue apparatus, plus Mississauga Fire and Emergency Services quickly responded with 6 engines, 2 district chiefs, a command vehicle, and a tanker. Peel Regional Paramedic Services responded with 18 paramedic units. Upon arrival, my team conducted fire suppression. Self-evacuation was already taking place. At this time, we believe all our emergency response went as planned. We will, however, be conducting a review. This is an active investigation. It's very early on. It's really important that we do not speculate. What we can say is the runway was dry and there was no crosswind conditions. We also want to give an update. We can now confirm that 18 injured passengers have been transported to the local area hospitals. We had 1 additional passenger recently transported to a hospital. We will all be supporting the ongoing investigation by the Transportation Safety Board. Thank you to our teams at Mississauga Fire and Emergency Services, Peel Police, and Peel Regional Paramedic Services, and all other responders that responded on the scene.
but I found that you were getting constant sayings on the intercom saying that there's a delay, etc., etc. But everything seemed to be very normal. That's what I found really odd. It was people were taking it in stride. Okay, you know, everybody's expecting a delay, but it won't really affect us.
All right, so we're off to Fort Lauderdale at 4:55, but we've been delayed only a half an hour so far. When I was grabbing lunch, I hear people at the table behind me saying there was an accident at Pearson. What? And then someone at the end of the bar said, yeah, the plane flipped over. I'm like, what? And so we're hearing cancellations and airport closed and all this for the longest time. And then finally, when information starts flowing, we're hearing that we're only delayed and not canceled. So we were going through the whole gamut of where we're going to stay tonight. Are we leaving tomorrow morning? We got to catch a cruise, and we can't catch any port of call until the beginning of March. So we got to get on this boat, right? So, yeah.